Welcome everyone. Myself Rutudi Patel, lecturer in chemistry at Parul Institute of Engineering and Technology, Diploma Studies. Welcome you all to the active learning video session on the chemistry. Today we will be continuing with the chapter number 6 polymers that is present in GTU Diploma Chemistry syllabus, and we will moving ahead with the applications of the different polymers that I have discussed earlier. Let us try to see the Teflon case. As discussed earlier, PTFE, that is polytetrafluoroethylene, is used in wire and cable insulation. It is used in for coating frying pans, non-lubricating bearings, used in packing valves, pump parts, etc. Now we can see here the next polymer, that is basically your polystyrene. If you want to see the polymer, the structure something appears like this. See here, there is a styrene monomer. Look here, styrene monomer is basically getting polymerized to form, it is going to form by polymerization reaction polystyrene. See, suppose this is basically your vinyl group present on the benzene ring, that is known as your styrene. When so many styrene molecules combine together, they form a long chain, that is your polystyrene polymer. So this is the thing. Now let us try to see what are the uses, what are the applications, what are the properties of this polystyrene polymer. It is finding various properties and applications in the different zones. You can see here, this polystyrene is basically amorphous polymer. Amorphous polymer, it means what? There is a amorphity in the crystal structure. The polymer chains are basically not linked into the regular fashion, so that leads to the amorphosity present in the polymer. Then you can see the next point that is present in the slide is good optical properties. Polystyrene finds a very good optical properties. So it is used for the optical purpose also. It is hard but brittle. Polystyrene basically, it appears like, you can say, the pieces of the bangles. If you see there the glass bangles, if you see the broken bangle, then it appears similarly to that kind of the thing. You can see here it is hard but brittle. Then we have this polystyrene is a good electrical insulation characteristics. It means what? It is acting as a good electrical insulator. That is the thing. Then we can see the last point, chemically resistant. It means polystyrene is somehow, you can say, little bit resistant to the chemicals. So polystyrene monomer is basically styrene. When styrene molecules combine together by chemical reaction, it forms the polymer polystyrene. You can see here the properties, that is, it is amorphous polymer, good optical properties, it is hard but brittle, good electrical insulation characteristics, it is chemically resistant. That is basically the polystyrene properties. You can see here the application part, why this polystyrene is useful and where it is used. Polystyrene is used to make audio cassettes, combs, brush handles. So this is basically the use of polystyrene. Then we can see here, used to make containers for talcum powder. Then this, you can say, bottle caps, the bottle covers, caps. Then you can say housewares like jars and storage containers. All these things are basically made from your polystyrene polymer. So cassettes, combs, brush handles, containers for talcum powder, bottle caps, housewares like jars, storage containers, all these materials are basically prepared from a polystyrene polymer. You can see here bakelite. Bakelite is also known as basically your phenol formaldehyde resin. Why it is known as this? Let us try to see the chemical reaction. Look here, this is bakelite. We have a phenol molecule, we have a formaldehyde monomer. These two are the monomers of the bakelite, phenol and formaldehyde. When these two monomers are reacting chemically, then what happens? It leads to the formation of the bakelite, that is your phenol formaldehyde resin. Phenol formaldehyde resin is formed in the structure, and that is why this bakelite is also known as your phenol formaldehyde resin. Always remember the monomers for the bakelite are phenol and formaldehyde. You can see the properties now of the bakelite. Bakelite is hard, rigid, strong material. Means what? It is having a toughness. Then it have a excellent water and heat resistance. So bakelite is, you can say, non-reactive towards water. Okay, so you can conclude from this part. It have a good electrical resistance. It means you can say it is acting as your one of the insulator again. You have a bakelite molecule, or you can say phenol formaldehyde resin, of a very low molecular weight. So due to low molecular weight, it is finding the special applications into the compounds where not much space is needed. Let us see there. Applications of the bakelite. Bakelite is used as a bonding adhesive in plywood. Okay, it is acting as a bonding adhesive. Then it is used to make insulator parts like switches, plugs, heaters, handles, etc. Then it is used to make radio and TV cabinets. Okay, it is also used to make telephone parts. It is used in varnishes. It is used in ion exchange process. Why it is used in ion exchange process? Because it is having low molecular weight, so it can easily fit into the exchange processes that we are basically designing. So bakelite finds a very good applications. Usually they are the dark colored compounds. You can see here, specially used as a bonding adhesive in plywood, used to make insulator parts like switch, plug, heater handles, etc. Used to make radio and TV cabinets, telephone parts, used in varnishes, used in ion exchange processes. Then we can see epoxy resins. The next thing that you can plan out is epoxy resins are very important. It is also one of the important polymer. Look here, they are resistant to water, they possess toughness, they are resistant to heat, they have excellent adhesive property. Okay, now these epoxy resins are basically used for surface coating, especially for making skid resistance for highways. Okay, they are used to coat the highways so that there is a friction generated and there is a skid is minimized, skid resistance highways. So for that, these epoxy resins are used, and they are used to make a skid resistant road junctions and finding the applications in electronic parts. You can see here now the important thing, that is natural rubber. Rubber is one of the very important thing that is finding a tremendous application in our daily life, either in the natural form or either in the vulcanized form. Let us try to see what is natural rubber, and then we will try to discuss how it is formed. See, natural rubber occurs in the nature. Okay, it is an organic elastic material of high molecular weight obtained from sap of rubber tree. What does that mean? The white milky latex that is basically coming out of rubber tree, that is our natural rubber, and it is organic elastic material that is created by the nature itself, and the nature also have a tendency to form the polymer, that is isoprene unit is basically present in our natural rubber. So this natural rubber is made up of your isoprene unit. Okay, so this one have to remember. Let us try to see the next thing, that is properties of natural rubber. What are the properties of this natural rubber? We have seen that it is obtained from the milky latex of the rubber tree, and it is high molecular weight compound that occurs in the nature itself. So God is making this natural rubber automatically in the tree. Okay, so you can see here what are the properties. There are some good properties, there are some negativities, but depending on the application we can modify these properties and then we can use it ahead. The tensile strength of this natural rubber is very less. It means what? That it is not having that much of good strength. Okay, it is not that much of having good elasticity. It breaks when we try to stretch it. The next thing, that is water adsorption tendency is more. Okay, that means it is absorbing water more on the surface. This natural rubber is basically soluble in vegetable oil, mineral oil, petrol, etc. Then this natural rubber undergoes reaction with acid and oxidizing agents. Means what? Okay, it is going to react very rapidly with the acids and oxidizing agents like KMNO4, etc. This natural rubber, when it is kept in organic solvent, what happens? It swells in organic solvent. So we have the properties of natural rubber, but if you want to use it, then we cannot use it directly from the tree. It is very difficult to use because there are many drawbacks, there are many different properties that may not suit our application, and hence we have to modify the property of this natural rubber so that we can use it in the different application. That one has to keep in mind. Now look here, if you compare on the another hand synthetic rubber. Now first of all, let us try to see what is this synthetic rubber. For that, there is synthetic rubber, or you can say vulcanized rubber. Both the things are basically same. Synthetic rubber, that is man-made rubber. The rubber that is coming from the natural tree is basically processed, chemically processed by us, and then we are trying to use it. So that special properties are modified and then we can use it in wide ranges. Let us try to see what are these properties of this synthetic rubber. Here the synthetic rubber has a very good tensile strength compared to your natural rubber. If you see here, water adsorption capacity is less. Then we have elasticity do not change with time. Then we have insoluble in vegetable oil, mineral oil, etc. Do not react with acid and oxidizing agents. It is not affected by organic solvents. Okay, so let us try to compare both the rubber. If you see here, the strength is less. If you see here, synthetic rubber strength is more. If you see natural rubber, water adsorption tendency is more. If you see here, water adsorption tendency is less. Soluble in vegetable oil, mineral oil, etc. Here insoluble in vegetable oil, mineral oil, etc. Undergoes reaction with acid and oxidizing agents. Then here does not react with acids and oxidizing agent. Then this natural rubber swells in organic solvent. This rubber is unaffected by organic solvent. So these two are the differences between two rubbers, but it is but obvious that you cannot take the rubber latex from the tree and directly use it in the different field. We have to change the properties, and for that we have to add the chemicals to this natural rubber, and then we can use it in the wide ranges. Let us move ahead. Vulcanization of rubber. Now see, what is vulcanization of the rubber? The process of heating raw rubber. Raw rubber means what? Natural rubber. Natural rubber with sulfur at temperature of 100 to 140 degrees Celsius is called vulcanized rubber. Okay, or you can say this process is known as vulcanization process of the rubber. Okay, what we do? We take a raw rubber, we add a sulfur, then we heat this to the temperature of 100 to 140 degrees Celsius, and then we get the rubber that is called vulcanized rubber, which is having a great superior quality compared to your natural rubber. Strength of the rubber depends on quantity of the sulfur added. Means what? How much sulfur amount you are adding, that is going to give the strength to the rubber. If you add more sulfur, that means your rubber will be much strong. If you add less sulfur, depending on that, your rubber properties are always going to modify. You can see here now the positivity of this vulcanized rubber. Okay, we have already seen that your natural rubber was very weak, it cannot be used directly. That's why we have processed it with the sulfur. We have added sulfur, then we have heated to the temperature, and then we got a finally vulcanized rubber. Now these vulcanized rubber, what are the advantages? Why vulcanized rubber is having good quality compared to your natural rubber? Let us see that. Tensile strength of vulcanized rubber is about 10 times more than natural rubber. It means what? Your natural rubber was weak, the final rubber getting after process is 10 times stronger than natural rubber. Vulcanized rubber is resistant to oxidation and moisture. Okay, so that is again a very good quality, so it can last for long time. You can see vulcanized rubber is resistant to organic solvent like benzene, toluene, etc. So these are the important advantages that is very much useful for vulcanized rubber to find its place in this world. Okay, we'll move ahead. That is insulators. Now, what are these insulators? If you see here, insulators are the basically substances having extremely low thermal conductivity and which prevents loss of heat. Okay, so these are the compounds having very low thermal conductivity and the loss of heat is prevented by these substances. They are known as your basically insulators. You can take the example glass wool thermocol. Before going to that, you can do one thing, that is we can list out what are the basically properties of this insulator. That will be writing into the list. Properties of, or you can say characteristics of, ideal insulating material. Okay, so that we are now going to discuss. What are the characteristics of the ideal insulator? The thing that is, it should